Welcome to Daddies, the podcast. I'm Greg.
And I'm Eric.
And Eric and I are both very tired right now. We had a very long weekend.
And a late night last night.
I think one of the latest nights I've had in a while. And I think it was even later for you. So we'll talk about that, our week. We actually have a lot of shit to talk about. And we also have a very busy podcast week this week. I think we're doing 3 episodes this week, so they're not. Well,
that's kind of nice because Labor Day is coming up. I think this is going to kind of coincide with Labor Day weekend.
Yep, and so the week of the week of the 4th, July 4th, the 4th of July, we. Eric and I are both going to be on vacation, so we were going to use that as a week to just take off. And I mean, we've been doing this for now 19, 20 weeks straight. So we were going to use that as just, a week off, just to kind of refresh and recharge. But we might not actually have to because we may now have enough content where we can have something released.
Put one in the bank.
Put one in the bank. Or the spank bank, depending on...
Somebody might use this as their spank bank.
Sure. So, you know what? Let's talk about yesterday. So when this airs, obviously it'll be... So on Saturday, why don't you kind of talk, get us rolling.
All right, ready? Set the stage. Yesterday, Saturday, was Shay's birthday. And for her birthday, she wanted to go to an event, and it just happened to land right on her birthday. It was up in Philly, Emo Prom. Now, Greg and I have been to Emo Prom before, but it was actually in Wilmington. Was that at the Queen?
It was at the Queen. Didn't we go to 2 Emo Proms? I feel like this isn't the...
We know what we did. I've been to another thing like that. It was at Xfinity Live.
Oh yeah. No, we did go to that, and that one was actually dope. They had a live band so the DJ last night, but Xfinity Live had a live band. But anyway, so Emo Prom.
Yeah. So, but the really fun part was, unfortunately, it was all the way up in Philly, so that kind of sucks to drive, and with a bunch of people going, that's what Shay really wanted, was for a bunch of people to go. Yeah. So she rented a school bus.
An OG school bus to, for everyone listening, think of the stereotypical yellow school bus.
The big yellow cheese.
Yep.
We rode the yellow cheese up. And what was my man's name? Booker or something? Cooper. His name was Cooper.
Yeah.
He was pretty cool. He looked like he was going to come in with us. He had a vest on and a bow tie.
And I'm surprised. It was interesting that he he was just for it, and he legitimately, when we got there, just parked the school bus and just sat there. I walked by the bus, and he wasn't even on his phone. He was just straight up sitting there waiting.
Oh, because I don't think he had a phone. I don't think he had a smartphone.
Oh, well, yeah, right. So the GPS was kind of...
no, there was no GPS. Yeah, he was like, yeah, so... We're getting close, and you guys said exit whatever up to Callow Hill. Is really close to this venue was really close to whatever it was, the old electric factory, and he just didn't know how to get there. So we had somebody guiding him, but how ballsy is that to say, yes, I'll drive you to your concert and all of your friends, but I don't know how to get there. I need assistance in getting there. Is that weird?
So Jenna was like, well, why isn't he using his GPS? I was like, I think he's old school. He was so old school. You think about when we used to go on road trips, and our parents would print out
MapQuest.
And it'd be like, all right, exit 292 is coming up at 800 miles. Don't miss it or you're fucked.
Yeah.
But
because if you miss it, then you just got to get back to that exit.
He had nothing. And he said, do I need to go left or right? I know how to get to 1200, the 1200 block. I hate driving into Philly. I really do. I hate city driving in general. And I'm curious. So we didn't grow up in the city, you and I, but I've been to New York enough. I have family in New York. I've been to Philly enough. I've been to a lot of different cities, and they all suck in terms of driving. Like everyone's fucking aggressive. But also like I even like Wilmington. I mean, we were both born and raised in Delaware, but like when people talk about like Wilmington, like, oh, it's on the corner of Fifth and Walnut. I don't fucking know
Yeah.
what that is.
No, you have to be familiar with it. You know what I really dislike about city driving or city living or even going into the city is the parking situation. I hate like street parking or, hey, there's a lot 2.5 blocks away. And I'm not sure if that neighborhood is decent or not decent.
Well, and the lots are always super sketch.
Yeah.
Number one, it's always like they always have the the fence with the barbed wire, but it's like half ripped down, and like and you always have to, especially like concerts. All right, you're parking here, you have to back in, and it's always the tightest fucking spot. So then people aren't comfortable backing in. Like that's why I hate it now. If I'm going to a concert, I'll pay the $40 in advance to get the lot across the street. So I don't have to. All right, here's my $40 or $50 cash to park in this lot that's like 2 blocks down from the actual venue.
We went to a Phillies game not that long ago, and when so Shay drove. She's really good for that. I love when she drives in there, so I don't have to.
Sure.
But she couldn't back. She wanted to park in like a really bump in area. We park in K lot usually, which is right across from the stadium. It's where most of the tailgating happens. And she couldn't actually back into the spot. It was a really, really tight spot.
But
it was
they
like the
wanted
last
her
one
to
left.
back in.
Well, she didn't really have to, but she absolutely could not have pulled in forward just because of how tight it was. Like straight up, you just couldn't possibly do it.
Well,
so this guy that was across the way, like with a big crowd, they turned out to be, I believe that they were firemen. And he was just like, "You want me to do it?" And we were all kind of like, "Yes."
And
so
did
he just got in. He was sauced up. And we didn't know what he had done for a living at all. It was just this guy that offered, and we were all just sitting in the car. And he just straight up, he was just like, he was just backed up, and he was just like,
and it was perfect.
Nailed it first try, no hesitation, no nothing. And then like there was a woman that was out there that was like, she was like, "Oh yeah, that's Jim or whatever his name was. He backs up fire trucks for a living." Like this little
specific like profession. Like,
sure.
I got you.
Yeah, and he's really good at parking in tailgate venues.
Well, and luckily for us, we didn't have to do that. So we went to this emo prom. We got dropped off, and we were early. I think doors were at 9 p.m. We got there like 8, a little after 8.
But we did get yelled at as soon as we got off the bus. So we all carried drinks off, which I know we're not supposed to do.
So
but, we were all feeling pretty good.
We were drinking heavily on the bus, and because we were allowed, like we were allowed to drink on the bus. We get off the bus, and so the bouncer. Hey, no, you can't drink outside of the venue. Get rid of it.
And we all kind of gave a little yikes.
Sure, and like that's cool. Like I get it. You don't want to rowdy, but and by the way, let me just say that. So, if you've ever been to an emo prom. And you were like big in the emo scene, 20-ish, a little less than 20 years ago, but still. I feel like it was everyone like our age, like in their 30s.
Right. Well, because they're not still cranking that music out. So the young people aren't really listening.
And it's not good if it's like, it's not what it was. So, but anyway, like the crowd coming in, like everyone was fucked up. Like everyone there was just really fucked up, and it was one of those things where like there was definitely some marijuana being passed around.
Oh yeah, it was an eccentric group too.
Oh yeah.
It was really really good for people watching. Actually, I'd say one of the best for people watching.
Well, so like all of the the females that we went with, they were all dancing, and we were all just kind of standing back, drinking, and people watching.
Oh, yeah, and it was so good for that.
It was good. And you know what? It actually was a lot of fun.
It was.
I drank a lot of the emo tier. I think it was called like Spiked Punch emo tears, and it was like pineapple and like I think vodka, maybe Red Bull.
Emo tears.
And,
that sounds amazing.
Well, you do it for for the cum, because then it automatically just makes
the pineapple.
The pineapple, because it was like 90% pineapple juice.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I ended up having like 3 or 4 of them, and I think Jenna had like 4 or 5, and so we were all pretty sauced up to the point where like that bus, I don't think any of us could have gotten home without that bus.
And I needed that. I needed the bus ride to sober up enough to then drive home from the parking lot to my house. And you had a longer drive than I had.
Sure. Well, and it was one of those things. So like, think of every concert venue and then downsize it by like 25%. But that would be a really cool place. Like I saw Seosin were coming, and it looks like they actually do like podcasts. I can't remember who it was, but they were filming a podcast there. But talk about an intimate show. Like if you really wanted to see a band up close, no matter where you were in that whole place, like and even if you went over to the other room, so it was like kind of split. And then they had this room with tables, and you could get food, and the bar situation was good. I think the bartenders were really good.
Damn. What was the name of
the Underground
venue?
Arts?
Yeah. Oh, I liked it a lot.
I've never been there for a show.
One thing that was really fucking me up, and I didn't know how to handle this, is so there were 2 rooms, each with their own bar, each with their own kind of stage, separated by a little hallway, and I had coat check and the bathrooms. But the bathrooms were not labeled like men's room or women's room.
So I went to go take a piss, and I was standing in what I thought was the line, and it was just a group of fucking people talk. I hate, like, if you're gonna have a conversation, please don't do it like outside of a bathroom. So they looked like they were in line. So I'm standing there, and I just didn't know.
Probably looked like you joined their group.
Yeah, and then so like people were lining
up
behind me.
Can we help you?
And they were like, well, which bathroom do we go into? And I was like, I don't think like, I think you go into whichever one you want, and so you did. So like there were urinals and stalls, and you just fucking go.
Well, I hope, because I definitely went in each of the bathrooms once, and like I had to fart really bad on the first one, and I'm pretty sure that I went into the one that was supposed to be the women's bathroom, because I didn't see any urinals in the first one, but I let a big fart, and like I feel weird. Like when I go into the men's bathroom, I don't feel bad about putting the toilet seat. Like I don't put the toilet seat back down when I go into the men's bathroom. If I go into a stall, like, otherwise I'm in a urinal.
Or do you spray the seat, or do you?
I actually just try to ricochet it off of the wall to my right.
That's fair.
And I try to see if I can bounce it into the toilet bowl from there.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
But I do put the seat up. Yes.
Do you?
Yeah, even when I do that.
So venue bathrooms historically are just the most vile fucking thing. I mean, like, it's nice being a dude where we can just stand back and spray if you have to.
Yeah.
Because like there's always shit splattered. Like you always have, there's always just that doo-doo butter.
Have you ever had to like poop in an event like that?
Last night I had to, and I did it. I did it. You know what? If I was going to, that would have been the place, because the bathrooms were actually pretty fucking clean.
Yeah.
But also it wasn't like a sold out show. So I'm curious if that changes. You bring in more people, and then it's like, oh, okay, well, now it's if it's sold out, like there's going to be a rougher. It really wasn't a violent crowd at all. It was a very relaxed group,
pretty tame
people fucking dancing. Yeah. And it just made me think of Dane Cook when he was talking about everyone just dancing around. They're going out to dance and just dancing around.
What is it? Let's put our purses in the center, and just,
because it was just like circles of people just dancing. Mm-hmm, and then but I'll tell you what, man, the DJ played a fuck ton of bangers. I mean, he really, it started out a little slow, and I was like, man, like, what did we sign up for?
I think you have to do that.
Especially because, like, there was no way home. So it was like, you know, we're here until 11:30, no matter what. And then it just got, we got more intoxicated, and then it just became.
And then it sounded better, regardless.
Yeah. So then the night wraps up. I think the event went until 2. We dipped at 11:30. Mm-hmm. We get back to Delaware. It's a little after midnight. I think it was like 12:15. Mm-hmm. I drive home. And man, this morning was fucking rough. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Do you feel like dog shit today?
So people came back to our place after.
Yep.
We weren't far from where the bus dropped us off. And we probably stayed up till about 4 o'clock in the morning.
Fuck that. Still drinking more.
Oh yeah. And I couldn't, like, I can't sleep in almost ever. Like, and I'm sure that I like dozed off a little bit through the day, like here and there, but I was just sleepy all day. And I finally, so then we had this thing. Have you been to, I'm pretty sure you haven't, but it's actually up in Hockessin, Dew Point Brewery.
So
Brewing.
I haven't been, but you've mentioned, mentioned it before.
So this was our first time going, and it was really nice. It's like, I guess it's up on Yorkland Road, and it's like the old, I guess maybe an old milling facility that was up there that like is just out of commission, and it, you know, that not like all those buildings are like falling down, and actually it's built like into or right next to, like there's this big like brick silo almost, that was like coned off so that if it fell, like people aren't just standing there.
Is it not? You know, I'm thinking of what's that pizza place by you? 5,000 degrees or
oh yeah, 1,000-degree pizza.
But no. So I've never been. So you went there and continue. You had more to drink today.
So yeah. So then I was drinking there, and so I drank there, and then we continued to drink even more. We decided to go and we hung out with some friends, and I continued to drink there, and we brought the kids and the dog, and we all just hung out. And then I actually took a nap in their backyard, just laid out a towel, and started napping. Like, I don't know, an hour before you texted me. I woke up and I was just like wiping the sleep from my eyes. I was in the grass, like just disoriented. Like that was what I really needed. And now I have coffee.
I took a nap today. I did. I'll
tell you what, this coffee's going to fuck me up though. I'm not going to be able to go to sleep at least until midnight,
you know what?
1 o'clock.
We can get some Rogue after this.
Okay.
So I got up. I came in at 6:30, 7 o'clock, and so I was much more. I was feeling better than Jenna was, so I got up with them, and
she looked pretty rough last night.
She was rough. She had a rough go of it. But honestly, like, so I just felt really tired, a little nauseous today. But I did from 4 to 6:30, 6:40. I took a nap. And it nice. Was I feel refreshed, but same thing. Just had some coffee. Slept, so I'm not going to bed. So we'll have to get some gaming in. But I'll tell you what, if you're ever on the fence about going to a emo prom, it was actually a lot of fun. It was a nice night out, and it was a good end to the weekend, essentially, especially after this last week. So
success.
Eric and I have a job. Like, we actually work. Like, this isn't our full-time job yet. But so we had a very busy, stressful week. And so something that we were talking about, at what point when you're working anywhere is it time to say, you know what, fuck it. Like, I'm done. I'm going somewhere else. Like, what do you think is that like line where you're just like, you know what, like I'm not fucking doing this shit anymore?
Well, are you talking about, I mean, there could be a lot of different setups for that. Is it like, fuck it, I don't need this job, and you just leave?
You just like straight quit?
Right. Like, I've had it happen. Like, I've seen somebody do that where they said, somebody went in and it was at a grocery store that I worked at, and someone had just shit in the bathroom, all over the bathroom. Like they destroyed the bathroom with shit and like everything. Like the whole place was destroyed. And they're like, hey, go clean this up. And the person was like, fuck it, I don't need this. I don't need this job at all.
Done.
I'm not going to do this. And they just left. And like, I guess they didn't need it. So I guess everybody's situation is different.
So I worked for a local grocer. You also worked.
I think we worked for the same one. Yeah.
We worked for the same one. But there was a situation where someone took a shit in the urinal and so grocery stores, the structures where there's like you have the produce manager, you have frozen dairy, then you have like
Butcher, the
butcher,
deli.
and then what's
Yeah.
like the like, oh, I'm responsible for like medication, like non-food, like there's like home good
Yeah.
or house, whatever they're called.
Yeah.
So they come up. I was the bag boy. It was my first job. So you're the lowest person on the totem pole, and they're like, "Here is a trash bag." Like, or it wasn't even a trash bag. It was one of the plastic like grocery bags. You need to go clean this up. And I was like, one, no, because you're not giving me the proper shit to clean this shit up. Like, you're giving me a bag, but you have to provide me with the stuff that like I don't want to get sick, especially for fucking $7 an hour. Like, it is not worth my fucking time. So I quit. And then they gave me a gift card and like, please come back. We're so sorry.
Really?
That was wrong of us. Like, we feel bad about it. So I went back and I mean, I like quit on a Friday. I was back by Monday. We're like, we'll put
You quit for the weekend.
We'll put you on grocery, or whatever, get you away from bagging. But then I ended up just going to Salad Works, and it was
You've also had a lot of jobs.
I have. So like, I went from like grocery store to Salad Works. I worked at GameStop, but then like, I think once I really hit college, so a lot of this was like pre-college or like while I was in college. And then once I graduated, then it was like, all right, now it's time
to
get a real job and not do these like low-paying jobs anymore. But it was one of those things where, I'm not cleaning up shit. And then when I like, but that was like the biggest, like, I'm done. Like we've all worked shitty jobs, but it's like, this isn't something that I'm going to quit, just because like I'm annoyed at like a manager or whatever. Like, that's everywhere you go. But like cleaning shit out of a urinal for
That might
me,
just be, that's pretty universal, I feel like, right?
Yeah, I think most people, but like so anywhere you work, people are going to talk behind your back. They're going to throw you to the fucking wolves, throw you under the bus. They're going to try to fuck you for your position, and most likely. And at what point is it like, all right, you know what? Like, I'm just done. Like, I mean, I feel like there's petty drama wherever you go, but like, at what point is it? I feel like, is it when your mental health starts to like take a fucking turn? It's like, I literally can't like do this,
Have you ever taken a sabbatical? Right?
No.
Isn't that what you would do? Is where you just like leave for a while?
I'm going to leave and then come back. I feel like sabbaticals are really like people really trying to like find themselves. You hear like, all right, I'm going to step away and like.
I know a woman that did it. She was, I think she was in like retirement age, but she like, I don't know if she found herself or she was trying to do so, but she talked to something. It was kind of spiritual. She like went to like, I think she might have gone to Hawaii, and she, I don't know. She just kind of like sold all her stuff and moved to Hawaii. I have no idea how she's doing, but I've heard of people doing it.
I hear that a lot. Like, people are just like, you know what? Fuck it. I feel like it was easier a little while ago than like now. Like, okay, most people, you need 2 incomes to have a fucking roof over your head and to be able to afford life. Like, I feel like you can't really do the whole like one person working kind of deal now.
No.
Like, unless you're making a
honey, I'm home.
yeah, right. Like, I feel like gone are those days, right? Like,
Probably.
you can't do that anymore. And maybe you can, but I feel like that's not, I don't know,
Practical
anymore.
It's not, definitely not normal. I'm sure it happens. I actually know somebody that does that, but
it's rare. It's really rare, and it's one of those things where.
Yeah. So I guess you quit a job when you're financially stable and you don't feel like dealing with the bullshit.
You can't,
no matter what that bullshit is.
We couldn't just quit our jobs right now.
For some people, no. Okay. For some people, the bullshit is cleaning up poop. For other people, it's probably, I don't know, just a toxic workplace. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it would take a whole lot for me to quit. It would take a whole ton for me to quit. I don't know. I feel like I'm pretty persistent. I would want to leave on my own terms, like
for sure. Well,
only once
because
I have something else lined up.
I don't want I feel like too, I don't want, if I'm leaving, like, I don't want it to be because like somebody else forced me out. Like I don't want to say gave up, but you won essentially if I leave because you were, being a piece of shit and talking behind your back and I'm gonna go to your boss and talk shit on you. That's some toxic shit. So be a man, step the fuck up, and if you have an issue with somebody, talk to them, right? I feel like it's not fucking rocket science. But I so I had jury duty last week during and so I ended up I didn't have to go. Like I called the night before. You call that 1-800 number and then
1-800 jury duty.
And I guess it goes from group 1 to 99. They're like, if you're between 1 and 16, you have to report. I was like 18 or 19, and they said your name just gets entered back into the pool of candidates, and then if you get pulled, you get pulled.
Have you ever been?
I have.
Have you ever actually had to go in?
Yep. So, but it was, what day it was? It was the day that Captain Marvel came out, because I remember I went to jury duty and then we went and saw the movie that night.
Okay.
I didn't get picked. Like the judge came out and was like, all cases were, settled or whatever.
Right.
I feel like that's normally how it goes.
I feel like that's the case. That's exactly what happened when I went.
They just say, all right, thanks for coming. And now you can bring your phone. Which is dope, because before it was like no fucking cell phones. You can just watch, and they'd always have like fucking HGTV on. You can just watching like motherfucking.
I like HGTV,
like,
HGTV, Food Network. It's all like
you're getting one of those whenever you go. It's like you're going to a doctor's office. Like you're getting something like that.
Yeah.
But my thing is, so you do get pulled.
Yeah.
And you get put on the, jury.
Mm-hmm.
And you become that juror. Do you would you be so true to your conviction? Like if you truly believe this person is guilty or innocent, but everyone else is going the opposite direction, because it needs to be a unanimous, you all have to be on the same fucking page, right? You all have to come to the same agreement, or you end up having to go back and deliberate, or you just end up with a hung jury, right? Like that's
and how hung is that jury?
Yeah, right. So what
I'd say,
do you need a big dick to be
hey guys, it's now a hung jury.
Eric's here.
You walk in the room and they all just go, woo!
So fuck, you didn't watch Curb. They
damn it. Stop telling. I know you know I haven't seen it. I know the final season,
because they talk about this kind of situation. But
maybe I'll watch it tonight while I'm not sleeping.
Sure. Well, okay, so but there have to be people where it's like, you know what, fuck it, then guilty. I'm just done. You know what? And that kind of is shitty too, because if you aren't just being a dick to go against the grain, and you truly feel like, hey, I think Eric is innocent, right? But everyone else thinks you're guilty, but I'm seeing something that everyone else isn't, or whatever. Do you just eventually give in?
Right. Otherwise you don't, you have to be back there the next day. I'm sure that there's different cases for different types of trials, right? Like it's not like I don't know, what is it? A grand jury for smaller cases. I'm sure that they don't do that.
But also too, okay, if there is,
I really honestly don't know enough about.
I don't know enough about it either. I've never been on a jury, but my thing is okay, so if there's video footage of you breaking in and stealing something and leaving with it, there really isn't much deliberation, because a camera shows you just what you put in front of it. A camera doesn't lie. It doesn't have feelings. It just shows you a snapshot of that moment of time. So, but can a judge be like, hey, we find we find Mr. So-and-so guilty. Can the judge be like, nah?
I think so.
Can they just be like,
I think that they have that power, don't they? If they, or do they only do sentencing? It's stuff so. Something will be on the table, and then if the jury finds them guilty or not, I think the judge can then even, I guess maybe if the jury does find them guilty, I think the judge can go, well, I'll say that I feel like they can override it. At least I'm going to say that's what can happen. It sounds nice.
So then who is the judge on a judge's jury? Like if a judge gets sentenced to like a judge commits a crime, like at
Who's the
some
judge's
point
judge?
it's like that episode of SpongeBob when he's talking about like who delivers. He's like, who delivers your mail?
The
Do you
mailman's
deliver
mail.
your and is there an unlimited number of
Mailmen that deliver other
mailmen that
mailmen.
deliver? Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I have no interest, to be honest. Like I just I don't want to be on a
Wait, but I do want to be a judge.
being a judge
That would be kind of cool.
But
I would wear a powdered wig and have
You'd
a
have to.
gavel, and wear my bathrobe all the
Sure,
time.
all the
Do they
time.
still all do that?
yeah, yeah,
Sure.
and like I dare
call
you
me
to
your
call
honor.
a judge. Like if you don't call a judge your honor, like they will flame the shit out of you.
You will address me like this. That's
Or
their
they will
domain.
hold that ass in contempt of court.
What if you just call them by their first name?
Hey, yo, judge.
Hey, Sean.
Well, I don't know. Like, I feel like if I've been to court once, and it was because I got a speeding ticket underage. I don't know if that ever happened to you, but they make you go to court if you're still on your learner's permit. So I had to go to Delaware, court of the peace of the justice of the peace court.
Yeah.
And the judge was like, how are you paying for it? And I was like, oh, I work. Like my parents are making me. I think my parents were definitely paying the ticket, but they were like, just tell him
that you're paying it.
And I was like, well, and I was working, but and it was like a $200 ticket or some fucking stupid amount.
That's an insane amount of money for somebody.
Well,
that's
and so I got pulled
under 18.
over, not by a cop in a car. He walked out from behind a fucking bush. So it was
And he
through
just
a
waved you
neighborhood.
down?
I was going 20 or no, I was going, I guess, what's a neighborhood? 25. I was going
25.
like 5 over. So I think I was going 30 and a 25. And he walked out and was like, over there. And I was like, really? But I mean, what are you going to do at that point? Like, and so.
I mean, you can't. I mean, well, you could have driven faster than him because he was on foot.
Sure, and he probably didn't have my license at that point. Like he would have had to go run to his car.
Have you ever thought about doing that? Like what running from the cops would actually be like?
So I was definitely like I pulled my phone out, and I was driving through the Legends, and a cop was going the other way, and he definitely saw me, turned his lights on, and went to swing around, and I like sped up and banged a right into the Legends and drove around and just parked my car. And then he just kept driving. But I feel like that's a little bit different. I think at that point you're like, well, like I'm not going to there. He didn't have my information, and I don't even know if he was coming after
I
me.
feel
Like
like you
he
just
could have
dipped
been
into
going
a
after
dark
a speeder.
alleyway, like you acted like you weren't there.
Well, he definitely saw me texting, so I feel like he was either going after me or someone was speeding or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. It was one of those things where I'm 17 or however old you are when you have your learner's permit. I'm in court. You're scared shitless. Like, am I going to go to jail or am I going to lose my license? And none of that. And then they
it's
hit
scary,
you
though.
with the probation. What is it? The PB&J probation before judgment. And it's like, if you don't fuck up for another year,
The
no
PB&J.
points. No, you just have to pay the court dues and you call it a day. But yeah, you shouldn't be speeding, right? Like,
Sure. Yeah. Whatever.
but the fact that like,
small
you have
stuff,
to
but
go to court.
We still have to go to court, or like another court, small claims court. Like if you, what is that? Like if you and your neighbor have beef or something, and they think
And
that
then
you
you're
owe them
paying
money
more.
or something like that. That's such a pain in the ass. I don't ever want to have to fucking deal with
You're paying more in
that.
fucking court dues and shit. Like, all right,
Also,
it's
my
gonna-
time. I don't feel like spending a fucking day in court for
Like,
that.
don't
I've got to need a lot of. I need to get a lot of money out of you to make it worth my time to actually take you to court.
Well, and so like you hear stories all the time, about, hey, your tree is in my yard. Or we used to live next to somebody and we had a sprinkler system, and I think our sprinklers would like sometimes go into their yard and she'd come over and knock. You're getting my yard wet. And so like here I was watering my grass, and it got in my like our neighbor's yard. And I was like, hey, I'm sorry, do you want me to move it? And they're like, why would I care if you're giving me free water? And, like, you're giving me
Right.
free water for my yard.
Can you water the rest of my yard?
Well, yeah, right. Like most people are like, cool. Like it's not like I'm sitting over there flooding your shit. I'm running it for 10 minutes or whatever. So you're essentially getting that side watered on me.
Right.
But yeah, she was a raging fucking cunt. I mean, like to the point
I think you're
where,
gonna say alcoholic.
oh no, she was a fucking just a bitch. And she fucking I just remember her husband like thought we stole like his kid's bike. Mind you, we were friends with them and we weren't going around stealing shit at that age. I was
Right.
like, I was never really a part of the like, let's go steal scooters and bikes. Like that's just not what we did.
Right.
But he was convinced that we took, and he's this motherfucker.
Well, it's not like you were a
chases
kid. I mean, a kid. You know. I mean, if you were under 18 at this age, you know, I don't know if you should just accuse any kids in the area of doing
Sure.
something like that. But it's definitely a kid. It's not like adults probably usually stealing bikes.
Well, and we were probably 10.
Yeah.
So we hop this fucking fence, and this dude's chasing us down the fucking street. They were crazy. And last I heard, they moved to Elkton, Maryland. So,
Oh, nice.
you know,
Classy.
So it checks out. Yeah. That's where they fucking belong in Elkton, Maryland.
Can I tell you when I feel like I was going to get in so much trouble? We were in the backyard. This was a long time ago. I don't know how old I was. Call it 10, 11 years old. I feel like
Yeah.
that same age. And we were, I think we were probably trying to start fire. Like
Okay.
just in the backyard, and we had like, you know, some leaves, and I think we had a magnifying glass, and we were trying to see like what ways we could start a fire. Well, we couldn't start a fire no matter what we tried to do.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think we eventually just got a book of matches, and we started striking them, and we would light small little fires in the back. And then this car pulled up. We were in the backyard, and we
Yeah.
were like separated by this little set of like trees. They weren't even the woods because there was another street behind it, and we're like all like it's, you know, a bunch of kids huddled around a little thing, and this car stopped and saw what we were doing, and then he was like, hey, don't do that. And we were all like, and we like ran, but then we saw the car turn around and head back up our street. And I was like, fuck, they're going to tell on us and they're going to get us in trouble. And then like, as an adult now, I can see why they did that, because you don't want to see some kids even accidentally or purposefully, especially worse, like set something on fire and make like, you know, the fire department have to come out, or somebody, you know, set somebody's house on fire or a shed on fire.
Well, a buddy of mine, I think they lit a Matchbox car on fire and threw it, like they rolled it under a barn, and it burnt the motherfucker down. And so I think the way he explained it, I guess I can't ask him. He actually killed himself. Yeah, years ago, committed suicide. It was wild too. Like he added a whole bunch of us on Facebook, and this was like 2017, and he posted this picture, and it was like, this picture reminds me of death. And yeah, we were all like immediately like messaging him like, hey, are you good? Like, is everything okay? You can talk to us, like, if you need to talk. And then no one ever heard from him again. Like it's crazy, you know, how that shit happens. But he burnt this fucking barn down, and I guess like even 20 years ago, like it was easy. It's easier now, but like if you commit arson accidentally, like if it's an accident or not, like they know who did it, especially now. Like you can't burn your house down. Like they're going to find out. And they tracked this car back to him. I don't know if there was like a camera or whatever. And they were like, hey, here are pictures
Hold on,
of.
you said a Matchbox car, and I'm picturing like, you know, like a little metal.
I'm gonna assume it's like one of the bigger probably models, and you like they had to have because they're metal, so I don't know how you would light that.
that
Like you
on
have
fire.
to put like wood on top or something.
You think he just like had it like rolling, like it just hears like a little rolling, and the Matchbox car was just the vessel, like the transportation for the fire.
I think about the movies, like, you know, the apocalypse, and there's always like the car rolling down the street on fire with no one in it. Like, it was just that. But he burnt this fucking barn down, and so they came and they were like, here are pictures of
some
bodies
real backwoods shit. That's some real backwoods shit.
Oh, it was Townsend.
Teddy done burnt down the old farmhouse.
We used to do some wild shit. So I remember what we would do. There were three of us, and we would take like a plastic bottle, and as cars would drive down the street, someone would hit someone else over the head with it, and they would fall. So the cars would stop, thinking that like you got like hit over the head with a glass bottle, and then we would just get up and fucking run. And we did that for man. I mean, like a couple hours every time we would.
Right. Oh, that's so much fun. You're just basically pranking the neighbors, basically. Did you ever do the one? I like the one. It's harmless, but one kid stands on each side of the road like this, and you pull an invisible rope,
string, yeah.
right? And you pull it across, and you see if they can stop. And it's like,
and sometimes they do stop, and they get the fuck out, and they're like, "Hey." And it's like, there's nothing there. But I mean, it's crazy.
But what if there was something there and there's like, clearly someone's pulling something here? They'd be stupid. Like, why would they not be pulling something here? And and I just can't see it.
Well, people, they would stop. I remember we would play like concerts out there, and like his dad would go and pay the neighbors off. And like that was where I played with some like, I don't want to say like super big bands, but like he would pay, you know, you'd have bands going to the Harmony Grange, or they would come. I can't remember what the big house, maybe that's what and he built this he took out like a second like mortgage on the house essentially, and built a stage out in their backyard and had it wired but like he did the wiring himself. So like, you know, it wasn't like, I'm gonna plug in and it's gonna work. Like you may or may not get electrocuted and fucking die. But that was the shit, man. And like, and you don't really have like, I mean, did you ever go to house shows?
No.
Like house shows used to be so much fucking fun.
You mean like where a band is playing in a house?
In a basement? Yeah.
Okay. Let me tell you. That's where I met Shay. It was in a house in Newark. I'll tell the story. I don't think I've told it before on here. Neither of us went to the University of Delaware, but we were both invited to a party, and like I guess it was kind of a big deal. We were, you know, college aged at least. So
wait, was it the house right there? Like when you're driving over the ramp, like in that little like you turn right the fuck there.
If you're not a ramp, it's like the bridge that goes over the Amtrak, like the train station.
Yeah, and then you would bang like that first left in that little like strip right there.
Sort of like that. I think there's like a museum underneath there. It goes like museum under the bridge.
Yeah,
it's like right there. There's a house, and it has like a little balcony.
There was a name for like yes, but anyway.
And so I remember it was on something to do with Kurt Cobain. I don't think it might have been his birthday. I think we met in like January or February, but whatever. I remember hearing on the radio that it was like, hey, you know, they were doing a lot of Kurt Cobain, like Nirvana stuff.
Yeah.
And there was a band that get there. I was there early at this house party, like way too early. You know, you're supposed to show up to those things like fashionably late.
Oh,
so it was me and my buddy. We were playing beer pong, and like we were doing really well. And I was supposed to be there with this other girl.
Okay.
Who she'd flaked on me before. So I think she was, I don't want to say she was stringing me along, but it wasn't going to work between the two of us regardless.
Sure.
But I get trashed at this party, just playing beer pong. And then, and this is when I still had like my long hair.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like faded, just watching this band play. And I was like watching the drummer like play the drums, and just in a house, like, you know, in the like in the living room into the kitchen. And Shay saw me, and a mutual friend of that girl that I was talking to and Shay actually, you know, Shay said, "Ooh, I like him." She pointed me out.
Okay.
And she said, "Oh yeah, that's Eric. I know him. He's being strung along, blah blah blah, blah. And you know, you should go talk to him." So they sent a friend over to go grab me, and then I came over, and you know, then she friended me on MySpace the next day, and you know, it's been history ever since then. MySpace, yeah.
Wow. I mean, isn't that crazy? Like that's where we all got our humble beginnings.
Sure. Yeah.
And what year was that?
2008.
So we very well could have been at that show together.
Sure.
You know, I mean,
yeah, if you'd been there.
Yeah. So, and then the rest is history.
That's right. That's what they say.
So there was just something about how, like, I used to love playing house shows, man. Like, they were just so, and how the police never came is always fucking mind blowing. The music was loud as shit. The bands were always crap, you know.
Sure.
It was just like
Sure.
loud.
Well, they don't need to be good. That's why they're in houses.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Right.
That's how you get your start.
Fun, yeah.
That's
right.
humble beginnings.
But there are some bands where you see like they're like, oh, here's so and so playing in a basement. Like, that's fucking cool, man. Imagine being there and seeing this band before they took the fuck off.
Right.
There were 20 of us there, and we were all hanging out, drinking together. I saw Taking Back Sunday. They played someone's. They live in New York, and they played someone's fucking, like, hey, you want us to play? And they played someone's fucking backyard.
You know, I don't have enough patience to go find a band that not that you only just go to those shows to like try to find a gem that's going to become a gem. Like, you're going because it's just fun.
Yeah.
But, like, I couldn't imagine just going and being like, wow, I just sat through 4 shitty bands playing music that I didn't really like at all. I guess there could be an allure there, maybe. I don't know. You said you went to the Grange a lot.
I went to the Grange a lot, and that is where I discovered a lot of really good bands that I like, or I liked. I don't know if necessarily still like, but I went to a show. We saw Chiodos back in like 2012, and we paid for the meet and greet, and we they did an acoustic set. And
you know what I like most about Chiodos is that their name is just really close to Chodes.
Sure, it's actually based off of, I think, the brothers who did Killer Clowns
from Outer Space.
Yeah. Okay. But anyway, so the opener set it off, dude. They came out and they were fucking awesome. Never heard of them. The dude then after the show was walking around, was like, "Hey,
do I know Set It Off?
You probably do." And
wait,
and he was like, "Hey, we're selling our." It was like the self-burned LP, $5. And I was like, "Oh yeah, cool." That was before Apple Music was really like everyone had it.
Sure.
And dude, I still listen to them to this day. Like, they were fucking good. But sometimes the openers are so good, and then the headliners come out, and it's just like, oh, now I'm super disappointed. You know,
that's a shame. Yeah, I don't think I've ever been to a show like that.
Yeah,
I think it's usually the other way around, where the openers are just like, that was cool. That was cool. Maybe I'll give them a look eventually and see, but then I'm there for the headliners.
It is cool, though, when you see an opener take off. Like, I remember we saw 21 Pilots, and they opened for Panic. Or actually, they opened for Fall Out Boy. It was 21 Pilots, Panic at the Disco, and then Fall Out Boy. And then, like, a couple years later, we were seeing them headlining shows.
Right. That's cool to see.
That is cool. Gross. I remember, too, like, Our Last Night. They're still huge, and they do mainly, like, covers now. Like, that's kind of their shtick. But we played with them I played with them like 2011 maybe. But even before then, I remember when their screamer and singer was like 8 or 9, and they were on MySpace, and I was like, man, even at that time they were really fucking good. And then they got
years old. He was 8 or 9 years old.
Yeah. Look up Our Last Night, and like, I can't remember what song it was. The Truth We Can't Handle, I think it was. And he was young. And then they got signed, and I think he was only like 11, 12. And now, like, as he's obviously gotten older, his voice has matured or whatever. But like, they were even really good back then, and I was always really envious because I was like, man, I was just kind of getting into music and playing with bands at that point, and I was like, you know, like, it's so discouraging when you have this talented band that are just a little bit older than us. Their singer is younger than me, but like, they're playing with Census Fail, and they're playing with these bands that like I admire, and I want to do that. And it took me until I think I was in 10th or 11th grade the first time I got to play a really big show, and that show was with Bedlight for Blue Eyes. Okay. That was the first big show that I played. I think it was Bedlight for Blue Eyes and Tokyo Rose. I don't know if you ever heard them. And so that was at the Harmony Grange, man. And like, that to me was such a huge accomplishment.
Well, it's never too late to get started too. So you could still be in a band right now and make it big.
But you know what?
Make it big. But I remember when you
podcasting.
I remember when you set your sights to make like commercial jingles is what you sort of wanted to do, like as a side hustle. I know that's not what you wanted to do, but you were like,
I'll tell you what,
if I could just write a couple songs and then sell them for whatever.
But you know what? One of those songs became our fucking intro, man. And I love it. I love that intro, and that I wrote with the idea of. There was obviously more to that song, but I think I was going to try to sell it on like Fiverr. I think it is.
I remember when you went through that phase where you wrote a lot of music.
Yeah, and so it's easy to just I'm going to plug my guitar into my computer and just like write something that I have in my head, throw some drums. You don't have to do vocals. Like I can't sing for shit, but like I can just record music, and then I recorded that intro in like 2017, 2018. Yeah. And now we're using it, 5-6 years later?
Yeah.
But
wait, do you remember when you were playing your guitar and you would play the what's the Eminem song?
Oh, fucking the Lose Yourself, the 8 Mile. And I have a video. That video popped up. I should put that video in this video, just a little tidbit, right? Yeah, that's what I'm gonna fucking do. And I'm gonna actually do it.
So drunk.
We both
were. I was. Did I know all the words, or was I like slurring through them?
You had,
but it was like in the moment. Oh, right, sure. But in the moment, I thought I was nailing it.
Oh yeah,
I probably thought I was Eminem.
It's like that episode of Family Guy when they think they're doing the talent show and they're all fucking high, and then they're like, no, what it actually sounded like was this, and they're just like beating.
Or that's like Wolf of Wall Street when he thinks he drives home from to warn him about the phone tap or something.
And his like fucking car is just in like the bushes, and he's just like crawling. But I'll tell you what. Also, I do want to say that thank you to everyone for supporting us. Our one of our clips has really just been our Urban Dictionary clip from a couple like 3 weeks ago has really been taking off.
Which one was that
so
again?
Do you have a new word that
what was the word from that one? Do you remember?
Duck hunting.
Duck hunting.
And it involved like stroking a dick like a shotgun while cupping the balls. And so someone commented on the post and they were like, oh, like a rusty trombone. But I think it's different.
It's probably
similar,
different.
but different.
Yeah, sure. But I do have a word. Hold on. Let's
what do you got?
Okay, ready? The Urban Dictionary word of our day right here today is Mexican bicycle.
Okay.
It means to sit on the face of a suggestive female facing south. While simultaneously, and I guess that's the south is the Mexican part, is while facing south, while simultaneously inserting penis between the jugs and gyrating. Wait. So I guess gyrate, like, so you're just rubbing your asshole on her mouth.
Wow. But then I hate that they use jugs.
Jugs, and jugs is spelled with 2 G's, FYI. So I'm assuming that they're large. Also, my penis isn't always reaching to those jugs either. Like if it's on the face.
You got a lot of fucking.
Here it is used. Confidence. Edward rode my Mexican bicycle like a champ. Yo, this is an old one. This is from 2006.
Holy shit! So. Do you remember?
Been riding that Mexican bicycle. How many miles have you rode that Mexican bicycle?
Well, do you remember like Urban Dictionary back in the day? I mean, I feel like you would just go there and you would find the most vulgar shit.
Well, you're supposed to look up your name, right? But anybody can put anything on there.
Yeah,
so
right,
it's just
right. You can find some really fucked up shit on there.
Greg is a great guy. And, you just uploaded that shit like an hour ago. And you're like, hey, guys, let's go and look on Urban Dictionary. Look up our names and look at the third result.
What was that? What's your favorite YouTube video? Oh, did you guys see that video of Bozo the Clown?
It's just like, you made it the night before. It said it was uploaded 12 hours ago and it has 1 view.
Like, no, it's from the mind of Bozo.
No, it's what Bozo would be saying. I was just watching that show. I was watching it this morning.
It's so fucking funny. We watched that like
Tim Robinson.
It's so good. Yeah. And some of the shit's out there.
Yeah, he's really weird,
but I
enjoy it.
Funny.
Yeah.
Well, and he's won like a lot of awards for that.
What's the TV awards? Is
the Woodies.
The Woodies are that's the porn awards, right?
Yeah, and we did invite a porn star on, and she turned us down. So, but that's okay. You know, we're not bitter. But she did say no. She said not interested. Period. But I'll tell you what, we have been networking with a lot of people, so I'm very excited for some of the shit that we're working on. Very excited. So, and I'm not going to say we have someone so what, 4 weeks ago, we've been working on something on the side. And that's almost about to be about a week or so. We're going to be announcing that as well, which is also really fucking exciting. But I'll tell you what, I am definitely fucking tired.
Oh my God, me too.
This has been a very fun. It's always weird. So we didn't plan on doing this episode remote. So typically we do our guest interviews remote just because we want to make sure that we're looking at the individual who is talking to us. So it's hard to do when Eric and I are locking eyes and there's just someone else talking. You know,
I just get lost in Greg's eyes and I can't. And I don't want to gaze away.
And so on, we were going to do it, and then Eric forgot his headphones and
I'm bringing with me
his Ring camera. I'm really curious. So when this video uploads, I see there's like a little bit of haze on me. There is, and I'm curious to see how this video translates. Like I said, we're still trying to figure out the fine tuning. We have new lights that we've been buying. We've been trying different things. It's just the lights in this room are very white.
You need more of a soft yellow.
We record during the day. Or get a dimmer. I'm going to see if I can put a dimmer on these lights, like I have on the other ones, just to kind of bring that down a little bit. Because I feel like, I don't know, sometimes it creates like a mist. And, it's all about...
And you don't want it to be misted.
I don't want it to be misty up in this bitch. But yeah, that's all I got. Eric, would you like to add anything else?
I'm ready to. Well, I would say I'm ready to go to bed, but I just slammed that cup of coffee, so I just
you'll be up for a while. You will be up for a while.
But that is indeed all I have for this week.
Well, and you know what? We have a very busy week. I'm actually really excited. Me too. I'm excited every week when we're recording, but this week is very exciting for us with who we're going to be interviewing and what we're going to be doing. It's something that we've been really working hard toward. I think we've been putting on a lot of fucking time, like you have to. So and we definitely appreciate all
things are coming to fruition.
Support. Yeah, we buying merch and sharing I think we had 80 shares on one of our most recent. It's the little things, we appreciate it. But I'm Greg,
and I'm Eric,
and we are the Daddies. Thank you for listening.